Members of the House, I'm hearing something from the gentleman from Charlottesville that's reminiscent of the same type of thing that I've heard for about a decade from the Democrats in this body as they have attempted to stake out some sort of moral high ground on the issue of redistricting. I would suggest that the facade of that moral high ground completely disappeared yesterday with the introduction of their redistricting map and plan. To say that the current position taken by our Democratic colleagues is hypocritical is an understatement. And to say that it does not do what they represented that it does is absolutely factual. First, the hypocrisy, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, we saw House Democrats introduce a map that goes to great lengths to protect 4 of their vulnerable members. It goes to great lengths to significantly weaken 5 incumbent Republicans. Contrary to what the gentleman said at the press conference yesterday about his own map, it paired 4 of our Republican incumbents into the same district. By the way, Mr. Speaker, I'm told that their effort to reach down and grab one of our members and throw him into another district in the very stark way that they attempted to do it actually failed because they failed to account for the fact that Delegate McGuire had moved before they drew a little thumb that comes down into a district like that to try to grab his house. So they're going to have to work extra hard to grab him where he lives now in Goochland County. But I have no doubt, based on the creativity that I saw on that map yesterday, that they can absolutely try to do that. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, this map kept a number of Democrat incumbents separated who live less than a mile apart from each other. And it gratuitously weakened to the tune of 10 or 12 points the district of the Chairman of Appropriations, Delegate Jones. This was clearly a very nakedly partisan move across the board. No question about that. And this move stands in sharp contrast to the recent words that we have heard even from the very leaders who put forth this plan yesterday. I quote, "A system in which incumbents can choose their voters and draw political opponents out of their districts is undemocratic," said Delegate Herring, House Democrat Caucus Chairman, in 2017. I further quote, "To say that this issue has been contentious is an understatement, but it is clear that some Republican incumbents want to draw districts in a way that benefit them and disadvantage their opponents," said Minority Leader David Toscano, also in 2017. Many of their colleagues are on the record as well, Mr. Speaker, with local activist groups or constituent groups where they've answered questionnaires or said things at forums, the very thing that the gentleman from Portsmouth alluded to. They are, many of them, on the record as advocating things that are much different than the plan that they've put forth today. I'm glad that there are activists here in the Capitol who support the efforts that they pledged that they themselves would support, so they can see this plan for themselves and get to hear about it. And we're about to hear about it in some detail. So it's partisan. I understand that. But now the world knows that our Democrat colleagues are not above that sort of thing as they have portrayed themselves to be for the better part of the last decade. But the bigger problem, Mr. Speaker, is not the partisanship. It is that this bill does not fix the problems that the court ordered us to fix. It doesn't even fix the legal issues and makes many of them much worse. And in fact, it creates several new issues for no apparent reason at all, except the partisanship to which I previously alluded. Mr. Speaker, we've identified 115 issues that the court itself put forth that required fixing. The House Democrat plan only fixes about a quarter of those. Of those 115 issues, this plan that we saw yesterday addresses 29 of those 115 issues. I heard the gentleman a minute ago say, in trying to claim that high ground again, that he takes court orders very seriously. He takes about a quarter of the court orders very seriously, I would suggest, based on the map and plan that we see before us today. Mr. Speaker, the long and short of it is the court's order was either defied or ignored, and that is not how you address the court's edict. There are a couple of very simple examples that are easily fixable that the court said to fix that are not fixed under the House Democrats' plan, and I just put forward a few of them. One was the Fan in Richmond. Everybody knows the historic Fan district in Richmond and its shape and its history and its restaurants and the like, and many of us even live in the Fan when we're here in session. And the court said, keep the Fan together, which apparently the Fan was split up into 2 legislative districts previously. The House Democrat plan completely ignores the court's admonishment to keep the Fan together. Delegate McQuinn had 3 precincts that the court specifically said those need to be back in her district. They identified those precincts by name. This plan does not even do that simple thing of fixing what the court told us to do with those 3 precincts. The court said, don't split up Dinwiddie County. And the plan continues to split up Dinwiddie County. It doesn't even address that. Again, the very simple things that the court ordered, that the people who were making this map could look at and say the court told us not to do that, they went ahead and did them anyway. As to the racial components, Mr. Speaker, the court said in District 89 to rectify a split precinct in District 89 where white and black voters were separated. Under the Democrats' plan, that precinct remains untouched. There are so many other examples, Mr. Speaker. The court took issue with how narrow some districts are. So what did the Democrat plan do? Instead of addressing the narrowness issue, it made one district even more narrow to the point where you cannot even drive down a street to get from one part of the district to the other because no street exists in that narrow band that connects one part of the district to another, in making it narrower still. Finally, Mr. Speaker, there are 3 districts that are affected that are not even included in this litigation and are not even adjacent to the districts affected by this litigation, which is well beyond what is required to comply with the court order. Mr. Speaker, we've obviously started looking at this plan. It is badly flawed, and the representations about it have not proven to be true in most respects. So we intend to look at it further. We intend to give additional scrutiny that the court would expect. And so that will start today as the Privileges and Elections Committee convenes to take up this plan and start to address some of the concerns that we have developed just in a few short hours. I'm certain that other concerns will come to light as we mine down into the data and the rationale behind the plan that already appears so flawed. For our own part, Mr. Speaker, we will continue to evaluate that plan. We will see if there is a politically viable path forward that also complies with and fixes what the court told us to fix. We would be eager to look for such a path. And I hope that we can find some common ground in that regard. But I must say, Mr. Speaker, that the plan put forward yesterday is an inauspicious start to that effort. Thank you.